Yeah, for sure. Well, man, it's great to meet you. I loved your backstory, and I would love to begin our conversation with, 4 years ago, we were all kind of thrown into this tussle with this global pandemic. And now that we're in kind of post-pandemic times, how did you survive that time period and how did it change you?
Something I took away is, hey, if you don't have your health, nothing else matters, right? I think a lot of people discovered that, oh my gosh, there's this thing out there that if I'm not, they seem the people that had kind of comorbidities were the ones that really in danger. So the people that did not protect their health before, they were the ones that really had the most risk. So that was a huge lesson for me. I mean, obviously I'm in the fitness world. That's what I do for a living. So I'm kind of preaching to the choir on a lot of people, but that's something that I really drove home to me. And also, hey, you can sit there and you can worry about all the things going on, or you can get active and do things. Like for me, we're all trapped at home for a while, right? So, for a while, I was like everybody else. I was kind of took that body blow, and I was kind of, what do we do now? But then, hey, I moved all of my classes online. I started writing a book. I started a podcast. All these different things. You've got all this extra time. You can spend it worrying, or you can do something, making your life better. So that's kind of two big takeaways for me.
So speaking of all of these things, you're a chameleon, you got so many things going on. If I was to put you in front of a classroom here in 2024 and it was career day in front of a bunch of third graders, and one of the kids said, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How would you answer that child today?
I would tell her, hey, you know that thing that mommy steps on and it makes her cry every time? I help her with that. So I'm just kidding. That's something I have to do. But if I was talking to some third grade, I was telling me, hey, you know how when you're running on the playground, and you just really feel good. That's what I help people do every day. I think a third grader would get that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how did you get to this point? Tell me about where you were born and raised and all of the elements and the seeds that were planted into you to grow into such a diversified pro.
Yeah, so for me, I was born in Huntsville, Alabama. I live here now. I've lived other places, like my dad was military, so we lived a couple of years in Germany. I lived in Ireland for a little while on my own, and a few other places, but Huntsville, Alabama is home. So I grew up as an athlete. That was my thing. Football is my main sport. I was on the basketball team. I practiced a lot. Didn't see the floor a lot, but I was there. So football was my thing. So always trying to get bigger and faster and stronger. And I kind of messed those letters up, and I got bigger and fatter and stronger. So I was an offensive lineman. So with your sports background, that if you're a big guy and you can't catch and you're playing tight end, you are now a lineman. So I moved over one spot, became an offensive lineman, and kind of grew into that role. And then I got injured. I was going to go play college football, but got hurt, got in trouble. All these things started falling apart. And then I was overweight now. Like when you no longer play football, you're just this big guy and you're overweight and you don't need this weight anymore. So I kind of took a look in the mirror and was like, I'm gonna start working on this. So I lost 50 pounds and I felt great. And I was like, man, I would love to help other people do the same. So I went to Auburn University, got an exercise physiology degree, and started working right away. And that's all I've ever done as a professional is just help people get in shape and lose weight.
Wow. So talk to me a little bit about who's been an inspiration or a hero for you. Actually, before we do that, what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
Oh, the NFL. I was headed straight to the NFL like every other kid in third grade, right?
Yeah. What would be your dream game to go to? If you could see one dream NFL game, where would you go?
Oh man, that's a good one right there. It would be miserable, but I want to go to that ice bowl. You know that legendary ice bowl game where they
Yeah.
they couldn't even they were just sliding on that. I mean, it would probably be miserable like the Kansas City game that was earlier this year. But
Yeah.
man, that was kind of the biggest deal. Like, what did that look and feel like? I think it would be kind of miserable, but also pretty awesome to see in person.
My stepdaughter and boyfriend went to that Miami game that was crazy cold, and they could only make it to halftime, and they were just they it was so cold they couldn't take pictures there. But I've heard after the fact that people have fingers and toes that are amputated.
I read that as well. Yeah, that's crazy. I
So
like football like everybody else, but I'm not losing fingers over it.
but I tell you what, if they ever walk into a room and they hear that whole argument about bandwagoners, they're gonna kill that quick.
Yeah, you walk into a Kansas City bar, missing a couple of digits, the drinks are on me. All
That's
right,
it.
I got you.
100%, man. So, who's been an inspiration for you? Who's been kind of a hero for you doing all these things in your life?
My dad for sure. So growing
Yeah.
up watching him, just he taught me so many lessons just by being who he was. Right, teaching you treat the janitor just like you treat the CEO. and just his work ethic. He was always working full-time jobs, but also being in he went to the reserves and the Army Reserves. He's also a football official. So he's always working and how to provide for your family and how to treat your wife, how to treat your kids, how to, build up your community and how to be a man of faith and just all these different things. And every now and then he would use words, but for the most part, he just lived his life and showed me and modeled how you do these things. And also when I was growing, I was working for the government and he saw this advertising thing one time about these fitness training, outdoor fitness class. He's like, I think you'd be good about that. I think you could do that. And I saw it, and that's how I started my business. He also inspired me to start my own business too. So that's been my guy the whole time. Great
So,
model.
so if you could meet anybody right now alive on the planet that you admire, who would it be? Who'd you love to meet and talk to?
Oh man, Richard Simmons. That's my guy right there. So, people kind of, yeah, he's kind of a cartoon character a little bit with
Yeah.
the short shorts and all that. But that guy helps so many people. He doesn't really get credit for that part because, people see he is pretty hilarious. He's got his
Yeah.
short shorts and he'd go on David Letterman, if you remember back in the day, and
Oh
just
yeah.
drive him crazy. But man, I just want to pick his brain and what he's got going on and how he got to where he is and all these different things. I think he's gone through some tough times recently, but man, that guy's a fitness icon. So
Yeah.
so for me, if it couldn't be him, that guy, I don't know. I think that guy's got some stories.
Yeah. So when did you round that corner and take care of your fitness and health, and when did that become your focal point?
So that was right out of high school. So I graduated. I was 250 pounds, and that's great if you're an offensive lineman. It's not so great if you're just walking around starting junior college.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the first thing I did is start reading food labels. That's how I just what are you putting in your body? I didn't know. There's more. There's multiple servings in this thing. Oh my goodness! Look at all these cows. And what is this stuff? What am I putting into my body? That's just kind of awareness is where it started, and just took it from there.
So what is your motivation every day to do all of these things that you do, to not only help others, but to evolve as a person yourself? What is that motivation every day?
Oh man, so I get up at 4 a.m. every day. Well, Monday through Friday, I'm up at 4 a.m. and I've been doing this for 15 years. I've missed one class due to injury and a handful due to illness. So man, you got to have a powerful why. But man, every time I wake up, I have the opportunity to change someone's life and their family's life forever. You can't just go in there halfway. So if that doesn't get you fired up every day, I don't know what will.
So what has been one of your favorite client success stories so far?
Her name is Nancy. So she was displaced by Katrina. She was in the New Orleans area, moved over here to Huntsville, kind of got displaced and didn't have a job. Single mom with 4 kids and didn't know where she was going. So we have a scholarship program where people just come that they get nominated and come to our classes for free and just kind of build things up from there. So she started there and then kind of built her confidence up a little bit. And then she got a teaching job, and then she started actually becoming a fitness instructor. And she lost all this weight and feels great. And now she teaches other people, and she's also working for me now. So she's also one of my instructors. So, and just an amazing Cajun ball of energy that just just a fun person to be around.
Yeah.
And just her whole story and her energy levels are amazing.
So you have to give good advice to your clients. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Just get started. I knew
Yeah.
what I wanted to do with my business for an entire year, and I sat on it, right? I was trying to make everything perfect, the logo, the location, and all these different things. When you could have just, I've been a year ahead. I knew what I wanted to do, but I think it was just a little bit of fear. I let that overcome me. Uh, and just kind of ready, shoot, aim, get out there, put it out there and fix it as you go. Cause it's never going to be the perfect time. If you have kids, it's never the right time to have kids, right? It's just you gotta do it, right? Just gotta make it work. And then with my clients, they're like, oh, I don't know, when I'm going to work out. Cause I work with some online clients and hey, just do the warm up. Can you go there and do 5 minutes, not an hour or 30 minutes? Can you do 5 minutes? Can you just get started? So you'll find if you just get started, you're usually going to do the whole workout. But if not, at least you got those 5 minutes in because they say the heaviest way to the gym is the front door, right? So if people can just get there and get started, then the magic will happen.
Yeah. So of all of these things that you've done with your life so far, what are you the proudest of?
I think for me, I did things the right way. I grew my business. I did the things that you have to do to grow your business. Tough, it's a grind, but I never missed those important moments with my wife or with my son. I didn't sacrifice those things. I missed a couple things here and there. Don't get me wrong, but all the games, all the things that matter, I was there for those. And I've just kind of become the person I had to be to create this business. I wouldn't. There's no one in my family that is an entrepreneur. This is a new path for my family, and people aren't really into the fitness world in my family. And then my dad was active in the military and things like that. For the most part, it's not our path, right? And I was overweight, so I went from overweight to I got voted my city's healthiest trainer. That no one saw that coming. I was a
Yeah.
below average student. I'm a best selling author, I was terrified of public speaking. Now people, they bring me in all the time. They actually pay me to say words in front of people. It's amazing,
Yeah.
and I was at one point, I was on the brink of suicide myself.
Yeah.
I just got to this dark place and I was going to do that. And just thank God I didn't. And I just kind of clawed my way out of it. Now I can help kids. I work with kids 10 to 14 years old now in this mentoring program. Man, it's just amazing that from where I was to where I'm now, it's just been a blessing for sure.
Yeah. So what's the best thing about living in Huntsville, Alabama?
Oh, it's kind of a melting pot. People think Alabama like, ooh, I don't know about all that, but
Yeah.
they say Huntsville's a little bit different than the rest of Alabama. We've got, this is called the Rocket City, right? So we have all these things, and it's been voted the number one city in America. People may not have heard about that. So it's a big city, but it's still a small city. So this is growing all the time. So many opportunities growing here. So many great people, music and these music festivals that are coming here. Uh, I grew up here and it was not like this. Downtown area now is a cool place to be. When I was growing up, you went to court there. That was it.
Yeah.
So just seeing how cool all the cool things that are going on in Huntsville, all the food and all the people, and there's the huge concentration of PhDs, which you don't think about that in the state of Alabama, but we got one right here. We have NASA here and all these things that are going. It's a cool place to be.
Right on, man. So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, you know, all of your readers, colleagues, clients, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Man, brutal honesty, depends on the day. I think it's the entrepreneur journey where, oh man, I'm awesome at this. Oh, I'm terrible. Oh,
Yeah.
but it's up and down. But overall, I'd say I'm someone who deeply cares about people, and my actions reflect that.
So if a time machine pulls up in front of your house when we get off this call and you can go back in time and see one event in human history or go in the future and see what's up, where are you going?
I would love to go into the future. So
Okay.
my son's about to go play basketball at the Air Force Academy. So I'd love to go to his senior year and just see what kind of player he's developed into, what kind of leader he's developed into, what kind of man he is in the next, what they're going to develop him into. They have unlimited resources, awesome academics and athletics and all these different things. Just I'm super excited to see who he's going to become.
So if anyone wants to listen to your podcast, pick up your books, reach out, hire you, any of the good business, where do they go?
My website's kind of the hub of all those things. So fitandpositive.com. Uh, my book, my podcast, they're all Relentless Positivity. So if you can just Google those or go into Amazon for the book. Yeah, those are the hub. It's all on fitandpositive.com.
Excellent. Joe Martin, this has been wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your energy, for your passion, and your story. Keep doing the good work, man.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on. You do a great job as a host. I really appreciate it. You got a new fan of the show. I've been listening to your show. It's a great show.
Right on. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Take care.